Alright, what's up everybody? Mr. Simp here, and today I'm going to be talking about the SMV curve for men versus women. Now, SMV stands for sexual market value. It's obviously related to dating and sex. And so, in the red line, we have female, starting, on a scale of attractiveness, 1 to 10, right? And in the blue line, we have male, and on the bottom, we have age on the x-axis. All right. Now, this curve, I've seen people talk about it different ways. This is based off of a deep research and statistic that Tinder put out. And obviously, Tinder is online. It's swiping, so it might be slightly different than real life. But the data is pretty substantial in terms of, both sexes. How do they swipe on age, and there's other factors. Okay, so what we can see here is that men start in the gutter. At 18, you ain't shit, you have nothing, you're probably weak, you have no job, no social skills, no status, and what you have to do is build yourself up, and that takes time, right? So over time, actually up until the statistics said 50 years old, men basically increase. Now, is this for every man? No. Okay, a lot of guys don't take care of themselves. They look like shit, they eat like shit. Some guys don't care about their career, so they're not going to follow this trajectory, right? But in general, on average, men go up over time, increase their sexual market value up until about 50 years old. Then they start to drop, okay? For women, it's basically the exact opposite, right? Nature is kind to women, time is kind to men. And so female attractiveness, they found that it peaks at 18 and just goes down from there, right? So what we can learn from this, essentially breaking it out for men by kind of age ranges, 18 to 25, so the gap here is so significant, right? Now, obviously, people of the same age, younger, tend to be attracted to people of similar age, right? Men usually look for women who are a little bit younger. Women usually look for men that are a little bit older, but when men are starting out, 18 to 25, whether they're going to school or not, they have to build themselves up. Okay, and again, this is a statistic from Tinder, picking everyone 18 plus, and seeing how the opposite sexes rated each other. Okay, so 25 to 30, it starts to look better for the average man versus the average woman. There's still a gap, right? But until the 30-year mark, roughly 30, 32 maybe, that's when it starts to switch drastically, right? So women's biological clock starts ticking, right? Like if they want to have kids, they're like, oh no, I can't be fucking Chad now. I need to find a nice guy to settle down with who will overlook my past and, marry me, right? For men, it's the opposite. Now men have more power, more status, more strength. Maybe they're more connected because societally we're kind of hardwired to improve and grow over time. Women are taught you're amazing the way you are, right? And so up to the 30 to 40 age is kind of the Chad range. It's where you have your shit together as a man. You have some money if you taking your career seriously. If you're taking care of yourself physicality-wise, skin care, hair care, you don't dress like a high schooler, you're going to do better, right? 30 to 40, you're at a higher value. And it only increases from there. And then 40 to 50 is actually peak sexual market value, right, for men, because you're established with your career. Maybe you're not in as good a shape as you used to be, but you have power, which is usually money, status, right? So in general, men age like wine, women age like milk. Now, that doesn't mean for everyone. There's some hot 35-year-old women, and there's some 35-year-old guys who look like absolute dog shit, right? But that's what the statistics have shown. And so what you don't want to do is spend all your time chasing women when you're at your lowest value down here, 18, 20, 22. You know, like, you should be building yourself up physically, financially, social skills, everything, learning, growing, right? And then it gets easier over time. I've noticed that since I've put on 20 pounds of muscle in the last year or two, women look at me completely differently than they used to. I used to kind of get ignored, and now that's not really the case, because I've spent time, I'm 29, building myself up, right? Hitting the gym, training martial arts. I'm a jiu-jitsu brown belt, and then, you know, working on my career, my business, and all these things. So your 20s are for building, not for begging, right? If you're out here chasing fucking Instagram, Snapchat girls, you're just gonna feel like shit, right? You should be focused on what the fuck you're gonna do with your life, right? Your career. Where are you moving? What are you gonna study? What are you learning? Saving money, hitting the gym, okay? And so with this, the dynamic changes at around 30, and then it flips, okay? There might be some caveats, right? Maybe a guy is 18 and he just, I don't know, goes viral on the internet, is a huge YouTuber. He might be a bit higher, right? Maybe just if we're talking about looks, right? Genetics, if the guy's really tall, right? If he's really handsome, if he's really outgoing, all these things, then he's gonna be higher. But this is the sexual market value, right? Just rating everyone statistically, primarily on age, okay? There's a lot of other things that go on here. If we're talking about status, if we're talking about looks, okay? There have been a lot of studies that show 80% of women are only interested in the top 10 to 20% of guys, right? Primarily looks, right? Then status and money. So with this, what you should be looking at here is building yourself up until about 30, trying to stay single or just not attached, right? Unless you really want to start a family as a guy and you want kids. But realize that the dynamic flips around 30 years old. Hope this video helped. If it did, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.